Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over one of the most interesting upcoming looter shooters called Arc Raiders. Now the basic description of this game is Arc Raiders is a free-to-play cooperative third-person shooter where you and your squad of raiders unite to resist the onslaught of Arc, a ruthless mechanized threat descending from space. Now because there's not a ton of information for this game yet, we don't actually know if it's going to be what is traditionally considered to be a looter shooter game, so something like Destiny or Borderlands games, because in all the information we have, there isn't any specific information on if there's going to be, say, gearing, or if you're going to be finding different varieties of gear, or if you're going to be able to create different builds with different stats. A lot of the stuff you would expect from what is considered looter shooters in modern gaming, but this game does seem incredibly interesting, and we do know at least that there is going to be some type of looting and upgrading of your equipment. Now, Arc Raiders was originally revealed in December 2021 at the Game Awards, where it kind of stole the show and got a lot of people very hyped for the game because the trailer was very well put together, had some actual in-game gameplay even though that was HUDless, and just in general made a very good impression. But we haven't gotten much information and no other trailers or gameplay reveals or anything else since then. But with multiple gaming events coming up in the next couple weeks, a lot of people are suspecting that there will be more information and probably some gameplay shown off for this game at one of those upcoming events. And I think a big part of the hype that was created for this game is because of who is actually making it. Now, this game is being made by Embark Studios, which is a much newer studio that is headed by a lot of ex-Battlefield developers. A lot of Battlefield developers that were making Battlefield back when it was more in its prime. And you can even see that old school DICE DNA in the trailer with just how they present the trailer, the big open battle feeling, the destruction, and just how the game is presenting itself gives that more kind of Battlefront or old school Battlefield feel. And one of the more unique features of Arc Raiders is how they're going about the more technical side of the game and the intelligence of the enemies you're fighting and the interactivity of the world in general. And they kind of tease us a little bit on their site under unrehearsed. Do the unexpected, improvise, use physics, your surroundings, and your wits to your advantage. And just like the Battlefield franchise, this game is going to have a lot of destruction and interactivity with the world you're in, and even down to having some new technology for the intelligence of the enemies you're fighting against. Because Embark Studio even went into a bit more detail in the boss enemy that was shown in the trailer, which is this big robotic spider, and you'll see in the trailer that they start destroying this enemy's legs or pieces of its legs, and then that leg collapses and the spider kind of topples over, and you can use that to your advantage to try to take out its legs first and then blow it up. But then they go into more detail about how these enemies are going to learn and adapt to what players are doing to make every fight a bit more unique. Essentially what they're explaining is they're using machine learning on the different AI in the game. So these different AI and robots won't have pre-made animations, and these AI will essentially learn the animations for themselves based on what's around them in the world, and will change their animations depending on what the players are doing or the certain part of the world they're in, or something gets destroyed. They'll have to interact with that terrain differently than they did before, which should lead to a lot more variety in facing these enemies in the game. And like I mentioned, there's a lot of information we just don't have for the game. We don't know how much of a looter shooter it's going to be, if there's going to be different build creation, getting different gear and upgrading your gear, or if it's going to be more kind of towards a Left 4 Dead type game where you don't really have that outside progression. We don't know how many different classes or characters are going to be, because you are playing different characters in the game. And we don't even know how many people are going to be able to play together, because we do know it is a co-op game, but specifically in the trailer, you can see up to 7 different characters fighting together at the same time. Now we don't know if that is actually 7 different players or if that's a few different players with other AI characters fighting with them. We're not sure on that. So it could potentially be up to 7 players fighting together at the same time against the same enemies. So we don't know a lot of the more specific details for the game. And like I mentioned, we're not exactly sure if this is going to be what is traditionally considered a looter shooter. There's a few bits of information that point to that a little bit. And first off, being in the Steam page, jump right into the fray in a free-to-play world. Scavenge the runes of the past, wield tools and gadgets to outsmart the enemy, use on-the-fly tactics, your surroundings, and physics to your advantage. If you and your squad play well together, one day the stars may again become beacons of hope instead of omens of oblivion. Reimagine the third-person shooter. Go beyond simply matching ammo to a weapon, experience action where combat demands unrehearsed creativity, and reimagine cooperation. Ark pursues you relentlessly, but together you can overcome these faceless foes, fight, flee, and fine-tune shoulder to shoulder with your squad. So a few things with this: scavenge the runes of the past. So it does seem you are going to be scavenging and looting resources in some way. Again, not sure if that's going to be some kind of more base resources or if that's going to be more looting gear, looting resources to craft better items, or exactly what that's going to entail. And wielding tools and gadgets are also shown in some other spots. So specifically on their website, there is a grappling hook you get to use. There is a howitzer you get to use. Not sure how that's going to play into the game, which is just a land-based artillery piece. It even mentions you may need up to 3 people to actually use this artillery piece. And then it also mentions fine tuning, but I'm not exactly sure if that's kind of a weird way to say just getting better with your squad, or if that is actually meaning fine tuning your character and your build to become stronger by getting better gear or better weapons. And then also on the official Ark Raiders site, there is also some more information under the roller bot, which is one of the enemies you'll be facing in the game. The vicious ball of pain has nothing in mind other than chasing us to our death. On the upside, if we can knock it out of commission, Ark machinery is useful for crafting better weapons, which helps when the odds are against us. On the downside, roller bots are known to travel in packs. So we do know we will be crafting better weapons. So there is going to be some type of upgrading to get better gear, but again, not sure how in depth this is going to be. This could potentially just be almost something similar to like a Call of Duty or Battlefield game where you just kind of unlock new weapons to use, and less like a looter shooter type of game. Or like I mentioned, it could potentially be a full RPG inspired looter shooter type of game. Now, in my opinion, I do think this is going to be at least somewhat a looter shooter type of game where you have items to constantly try to upgrade to have something to continuously chase. And the reason for that is because this is a free-to-play game. It's going to be coming out on the Epic Game Store, Steam, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S, and it's going to be fully free to play, which at minimum will guarantee a cosmetic shop, but also it being a free-to-play only PvE game also leads me to believe they're going to need some type of loot farming or ways to make you stronger or reasons to get you to keep playing the game, because that is how free-to-play games make their money. Pretty much every free-to-play game now is also going to be a live service type of game where they continually try to update it and give you cosmetics or other things to buy because they want you to have a reason to keep playing the game, or they're not going to be making any money. If it was just like a one-time deal where you go through like a campaign or something like that, it wouldn't make sense at all for that to be a free-to-play game, because there would be no reason for people to actually spend money on cosmetics or whatever else they sell. So they would either need a type of gameplay that people want to keep coming back for, such as a competitive PvP game, or some type of progression in the game, because since it's not a PvP game, it's going to need that hook to keep people playing. So I personally do hope it is going into that more looter shooter type of game with progression that wants you to keep coming back, to keep progressing and becoming stronger in the game, because I am a fan of those type of games, and I think it would be incredibly difficult for a PvE only game game to keep people wanting to play it if there isn't something like that for players to keep progressing towards. But that's pretty much all I want to go over for Arc Raiders. I'm pretty excited to learn more about this game. It is supposedly launching in 2022, so that will also be pretty exciting if it is not delayed. So subscribe if you want to see more Arc Raiders or other videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about Arc Raiders, and thanks for watching.